Namaskar, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha. You're watching House Highlights, where we take you through the day's proceedings in both Houses of Parliament. Let's begin with the headlines. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh makes statement in Parliament on the inadvertent firing of a missile on 9th of March, calls the incident regrettable, asserts that India's missile system is highly safe and secure. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar apprises Parliament of India's evacuation efforts in Ukraine, says that 22,000 Indian citizens returned home safely from the war-torn country despite massive challenges. Lok Sabha takes up discussion and voting on demands for grants for Ministry of Railways. Members highlight various issues. And government working towards making the Northeast region India's new engine of growth, Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy tells Rajya Sabha. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar briefed both houses of Parliament on the situation in Ukraine. In a statement in the lower house, the minister informed that under Operation Ganga, 90 flights have been operated, out of which 76 were civilian flights and 14 were Indian Air Force flights. The Foreign Minister also informed the House that foreign nationals were evacuated from conflict zones and included about 150 citizens of 18 countries. In fact, he also said that the Ukraine conflict has major economic implications and its impact on energy and commodity prices is already visible. The disruption of the global supply chain is expected to be significant as India has substantial dealings with both Russia and Ukraine.
We have ensured that about 22,500 citizens have returned home safely. 22,500. The House would recognize the complexity of the various endeavors that have made it possible. A situation room was established in Delhi on 16 February. The embassy took parallel measures. The MEA situation room was ramped up to over 100 personnel, allowing them to respond to over 13,000 calls and over 9,000 emails to date. The strategy for evacuation was to take out Indian nationals from the western neighboring countries of Ukraine, that is Poland, Slovak Republic, Hungary, Romania, and Moldova. This was necessitated due to closure of Ukrainian airspace on 24 February. To carry this out, we were required to strengthen our missions in these countries so that they could deploy teams at the border points, set up transit camps, operate effective control rooms, and facilitate the large number of air flights. Along with that, they also handled incoming humanitarian assistance. Under Operation Ganga, 90 flights have been operated, out of which 76 were civilian flights and 14 were Indian Air Force flights. The evacuation flights were from Romania, Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia. While IAF rose to the occasion, most of the private airlines, including Air India Express, Indigo, SpiceJet, Vistara, GoAir, and AirAsia, also participated enthusiastically. During this period, honorable members should know that Prime Minister himself spoke to the presidents of Russia and Ukraine on multiple occasions. He specifically took up the issue of safe evacuation of Indian nationals, especially from Kharkiv and Sumy. Prime Minister spoke to the Prime Ministers of Romania, Slovak Republic, and Hungary, and to the President of Poland to seek support for facilitation of entry of Indian nationals to their country. The Sumy evacuation, which was the last one on a significant scale, was extremely complex. Our students faced the prospect of being caught in a crossfire. Their evacuation from the city needed a credible ceasefire, a daunting challenge in the current situation. This finally materialized due to the personal intervention of the Prime Minister. himself with the presidents of Ukraine and Russia. Its impact on energy and commodity prices is already visible. The disruption of the global supply chain is expected to be significant. India has substantial dealings with both Russia and Ukraine. An assessment in this regard by the government is underway. However, the House will appreciate that there is all the more need for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Operation Ganga is a testimony of our commitment to ensure that Indians in distress situations abroad can count on their government.
Members of the opposition parties sought clarity and raised questions on the evacuation efforts in Ukraine after the External Affairs Minister's statement in the upper house on the situation in Ukraine. Let's listen in.
One thing is appreciable and commendable rather, that the work that has been done by the Ministry of External Affairs, our diplomats, our missions abroad. It is not easy. It's an evacuation in the war.
इंडियन एम्बेसी ने 15 फरवरी को हमारे विद्यार्थियों को लाने के लिए ये कोशिश की, लेकिन मैं पूछना चाहता हूं कि आपने जो एडवाइजरी दी थी, एडवाइजरी देने के बाद भी हमारे स्टूडेंट्स या हमारे सिटीजन्स वक्तिया क्यों नहीं पहुंचे?
The universities have cautioned the students that if they leave, then their studies will be spoiled. So they were prepared to stake their lives and stayed there. Some universities were reluctant to give even online classes.
Specific
very important, I am telling.
Yes, all queries are important.
Now that the life
all
has been saved,
important. Please.
Very important, sir. Their main question is, what about the future of their education?
Thank you.
About 1.5 million refugees, most of which are women and children, have been fleeing from that place. So what is the extent of humanitarian assistance, particularly with respect to women and children in this area, is something that I would like to get clarified.
Thank you.
Moving on, Lok Sabha took up discussion and voting on the demands for grants under the control of the Ministry of Railways for 2022-23. Initiating the debate, Congress MPs accused the government of running the railways in an inefficient manner. Expressing concern over huge vacancies in the railways, DMK MPs raised the issue of lack of jobs in the sector. Many opposition leaders also sought to know the stand of the government on privatization. While BJP leaders listed the government's achievements in the sector, the discussion will continue further on Wednesday as well.
The SC/ST unemployed youth get employment only in the government sector. There is no reservation in the private sector. Railway is the main employment opportunity for SC/ST unemployed youths. But railway also recruitment ban is continuing like this, where they will get employment. This is a very big question before us. So Government of India is privatizing even profitable public undertakings.
डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर्स के ऊपर ध्यान दिया गया है। एक ऐसे समय पर जहां आर्थिक व्यवस्था को और मजबूत करा जा सके, एम्प्लॉयमेंट और बढ़ाया जा सके, तकरीबन 1100 किलोमीटर का ईस्टर्न और वेस्टर्न डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर पूरी तरह से तैयार हो गया है, कमीशन हो चुका है। जैसे मैंने कहा, इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन तकरीबन 5 गुना ज़्यादा इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन हो चुका है यूपी के कार्यकाल के कंपैरिजन के अंदर। ओपन डेफिकेशन ट्रैक्स पे वो बिल्कुल ख़त्म हो गया है। वर्ल्ड क्लास सिग्नलिंग अब भारत के अंदर ही आत्मनिर्भर भारत के अंदर तैयार करी हुई एक सिक्योरिटी सिस्टम को शुरू करा गया है।
Even in my constituency, 3 trains, Thuthukudi, Coimbatore Link Express, Thuthukudi, Vanchi Maniachi train, and then Thuthukudi Chennai Link Express, Thuthukudi Tiruchendur Express, just to give you an example. All 3 have not gone back to what it was. The stops have been withdrawn, and so it is just not in one place. In many places there are, I think even in Kerala and
Throughout
India.
Throughout India.
A social obligation to private vehicles, transport facilities to people, and lay the foundation for several small and medium scales economic activities. So privatizing the railways means privatizing profit and bounding the public sector with losses. So it so appeared that government wants public money, the public good to utilize for private good. And the question arises, will the government make it clear that what will the railway earn from privatization is the first place?
Infrastructure in Visakhapatnam was adequate to run the divisional headquarters and would not involve any additional expenditure. Moreover, if Valthe division is not retained with South Coast Railway Zone, it would be a drain on the Indian Railways financially, besides making it an operational nightmare, sir. Secondly, I would request the central government to operationalize South Coast Railway Zone at the earliest. It has been 3 years since the Railway Minister has announced the new South Coast Railway Zone, sir. However, there is an inordinate delay in operationalizing the railway zone.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं मध्य ये रेलवे मंत्री जी का विनंती करता हूं कि मेरे उपरोक्त सभी महत्वपूर्ण मांगे पर और जितने मैंने झुग्गी झोपड़ियों का पुनर्वास बाकी है उसके बारे में ये सब जो बात आपके सामने रखा है, आप जरा प्लीज़ आप कर सकते हैं, उसका बहुत इम्प्लीमेंट करके लेना, ऐसी मैं हाथ जोड़ के प्रार्थना करता हूँ।
अभी मैं त्रिपुरा गया था सभापति महोदय, त्रिपुरा के मुख्य यहाँ बहुत हमारे साथी बैठे थे, त्रिपुरा के मुख्यमंत्री से मुलाकात हुई। वो बोलते हैं अब अगरतला से गुवाहाटी हम 10 घंटा से 9-10 घंटे में राजधानी चली जाती। सर वहाँ कई दिनों तक किसी की सरकार थी, कई वर्षों तक थी, और 5 साल के त्रिपुरा के भारतीय जनता पार्टी के शासन और हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी के डबल इंजन अश्विनी वैष्णव जी के मंत्रालय से आज राजधानी भी वहां चल रही है और सभी लोग कह रहे हैं ऐसा शासन नहीं देखा।
महोदय, अभी रेलवे के एग्जाम हुए थे, बच्चों ने एग्जाम कंप्लीट किया, लगभग 2 लाख बच्चों ने, उनके मेडिकल भी करा लिए गए, परंतु अभी भी आपके टेक्नीशियन और सेफ्टी में 1.5 लाख पोस्ट खाली हैं। उनके जिनके मेडिकल्स हो गए हैं, जिनको आप रखना चाह रहे हैं, उन्हें बच्चों को उन नौजवानों को नौकरी दें, क्योंकि कोविड के बाद पूरी देश के नौजवानों को रोजगार की सख्त आवश्यकता है।
The operating ratio of the Indian Railway has worsened to 98.93% in the revised estimate for financial year 22. This is lower than 96.15% operating ratio it had budgeted for that year. Finance Minister, while presenting the budget, had underlined Indian Railways would play a critical role as one of the 7 engines of PM Gati Shakti master plan.
हमारा काम फ्लाईओवर बनवाना है, ट्रेन का स्टॉपेज देना है, प्लेटफॉर्म की सफाई है, लाइट है, कोच पोजिशनिंग का सिस्टम है, लाउड स्पीकर का सिस्टम है, प्लेटफॉर्म का एक्सटेंशन है। हम तो 2.5 साल से आपको लिखते लिखते कहते कहते थक गए। तो व्हाट इज दिस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन? मैं तो समझता हूं कि क्या आप सत्ता पक्ष के लोगों में और विपक्ष के लोगों में इतना भेदभाव करते हैं क्या? डिस्क्रिमिनेट करते हैं क्या?
जो पता चल रहा है कि 400 वंदे भारत चलाया जाएगा हिंदुस्तान में, तो 400 जो बनाया जाएगा सर, टारगेट है 104 रेक बाय 2024 करने का, लेकिन अभी तक सिर्फ 2 ही अभी तक उपलब्ध करा गया है, और इसके वजह से ये 4 गुना हो जाएगा। तो विल इट बी feasible? Is it possible to have those many rakes in available for these many trains?
कोरोना वैश्विक महामारी के दौरान भी भारतीय रेलवे ने अपनी महती भूमिका अदा की है। रेलवे ने कोविड के दौरान 901 ऑक्सीजन एक्सप्रेस यात्रा के माध्यम से 2087 फुल टैंकर्स और 36,840 मीट्रिक टन ऑक्सीजन राज्यों को पहुंचाने का काम किया। इसके अलावा 4,4621 श्रमिकों के स्पेशल ट्रेन के द्वारा 6.3 मिलियन लोगों को एक स्थान से दूसरे स्थान तक पहुंचाने का काम किया।
Our Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee ji, and it had highlighted how current financial condition of railway is depleting nowadays. Indian Railway has a budgeted a gross traffic revenue of 2.7 lakh crore and ordering an ordinary working class expense of 2.8 lakh crore in this fiscal budget. The revised estimate had already been lowered to 2.01 lakh crore, whereas the trend shows that it would not exceed till 1.9 crore.
No demand for grants were made by the ministry to operationalize the suspended passenger trains across India. And finally, before concluding, I would like to request the government to operationalize the South Coast Railway Zone at the earliest, and also to retain the Walter Division with the South Coast Railway Zone. This is the long pending demand, and if it can be fulfilled in this budget year, we are all so grateful to the ministry. This is all the wish of the people of Andhra Pradesh, and also this is promised in the Reorganization Act also.
रेल मंत्री जी के आशीर्वाद से मेरे वडोदरा को एक वडोदरा से वाराणसी, यानी हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी वाराणसी से और वडोदरा दोनों जगह से सांसद थे। वडोदरा से वाराणसी के लोगों को जोड़ने के लिए वडोदरा से वाराणसी की एक महामना ट्रेन वडोदरा को मिली। साथ में मध्य प्रदेश का रेवा, वहाँ वडोदरा से रेवा मध्य प्रदेश के जोड़ने की ट्रेन भी नई हमारे मंत्री जी ने दी। साथ में अहमदाबाद वडोदरा से बहुत सारे पैसेंजर अहमदाबाद जाते हैं।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Tuesday made a statement in Parliament on inadvertent firing of a missile on 9th of March 2022. He asserted that the government has taken serious note of the incident and a formal high-level inquiry has also been ordered. The Defence Minister also informed the members that a review of the standard operating procedures for operations, maintenance and also inspections is being conducted. Rajnath Singh made the statement in Rajya Sabha first and later in Lok Sabha. Listening.
सरकार ने इस घटना को बहुत ही गंभीरतापूर्वक लिया है और इसके लिए एक औपचारिक उच्च स्तरीय जांच के आदेश भी दे दिए गए हैं। कथित दुर्घटना का सटीक कारण जांच के बाद ही पता चल पाएगा। मैं यह भी कहना चाहूँगा कि इस घटना के संदर्भ में ऑपरेशंस, मेंटेनेंस तथा इंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर्स की समीक्षा भी की जा रही है। हम अपने वेपन सिस्टम की सेफ्टी और सिक्योरिटी को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देते हैं। इस संबंध में यदि किसी भी प्रकार की खामी पाई जाती है तो उसे तुरंत दूर किया जाएगा। मैं सदन को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि हमारा मिसाइल सिस्टम अत्यंत सुरक्षित और भरोसेमंद है। इसके अलावा हमारे सेफ्टी प्रोसीजर्स और प्रोटोकॉल्स उच्च स्तरीय हैं और समय समय पर इसकी समीक्षा भी की जाती है। हमारी आर्म्ड फोर्सेस वेल ट्रेंड एवं डिसिप्लिन्ड हैं और इस प्रकार के सिस्टम को हैंडल करने का अच्छा अनुभव भी रखती हैं।
The government is working towards making the Northeast India's new engine of growth, and there has been remarkable development of the region. Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy told the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday he was replying to a discussion on the working of the Ministry of Development of Northeastern region in the upper house. He said the centre has worked on holistic development of the region since 2014 by focusing on bringing peace, improving infrastructure and also connectivity through enhanced budgetary support.
नॉर्थ ईस्ट ये युवाओं में आज हाई एस्पिरेशंस के साथ उनके डेवलपमेंट और आगे बढ़ने का नया अवसर आज मिलने का भारत सरकार प्रयास करे। इसके मुख्य कारण है नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में शांति और खुशहाल का नया दौर शुरू हुआ है, जिसकी वजह से आज विकास के बारे में नया गति मिल रही है। महोदय जी, मैं सदन के सामने कुछ डाटा प्रस्तुत करना चाहता हूं। 2014 के बाद इंसर्जेंसी रिलेटेड इंसिडेंट्स बहुत कमी हुआ है। 2014 में इंसिडेंट्स 824 इंसिडेंट नॉर्थ ईस्ट में हुआ है। 2020 में वो 163 कम हुआ है। और इसका साथ साथ एक्सट्रीमिस्ट अरेस्टेड भी नहीं तो सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस किलिंग का भी आज 2014 से बहुत कम हुआ है।
The upper house also took up discussion on the workings of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Let's take a look.
जिस प्रकार से आज जो परिवर्तन आए हमारे समाज में, हमारे गरीबों में, आज उन गरीबों के गांव तक, गलियों तक सड़क जाना शुरू हुआ, पक्की सड़कें बन गई, प्रधानमंत्री आवास हर गांव के हर मोहल्ले तक आज आवास चमचमाते हुए आवास बन रहे हैं, उनके घरों में भी शौचालय बन रहे हैं।
तो रेलवे लाइन के अंदर जो भी प्रोजेक्ट सैंक्शन हुआ है, काम चल रहा है, लेकिन समय सीमा पे वो काम खत्म नहीं होता है। अभी गुजरात के अंदर मध्य प्रदेश गुजरात की सरहद दोनों जोड़ने के लिए रेलवे लाइन चालू है, 2012 में उसको पूरा करना था। ये गरीब आदिवासी लोग मजदूर वहाँ पर मजदूरी के लिए पलायन होते हैं, माइग्रेशन होता है, तो उसको रोकने के लिए अगर तो उसको थोड़ा सरल मुसाफरी करने के लिए, उनको कम भाड़ा में मुसाफरी करने के लिए रेलवे का जो प्रोजेक्ट चलता है उसके अंदर भी थोड़ा ज़्यादा फंड दे के रेलवे प्रोजेक्ट का काम जल्दी खत्म करे।
Only half of the total allocated special central assistance to tribal sub-scheme was utilized in 2021. For the year 21-22, the allocated amount was rupees 1,350 crores, of which just rupees, a paltry sum of only 4 crores had been utilized till January.
All these resources of the hills, mountains, land, water and forest belong to the Adivasis, and they used to survive in coexistence with nature. Their self-sufficiency was dependent on these resources. Now all these are under the control of the government and the private owners.
During question hour, in a supplementary question, NCP member Vandana Chavan alleged lack of release of funds to the state of Maharashtra and other non-BJP ruled states. Responding to her query, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman clarified that it is the GST Council which decides on disbursements. In fact, she also urged the members to not politicize the matter. Listening.
The state of Maharashtra generates the highest revenue to the kitty of our country. However, in this table which has been appended as annexure to the reply, we see that the maximum figure which seeks compensation yet to be released is for the state of Maharashtra, which is a whopping 11,563 crores.
It's very well to point out that Maharashtra has a very big amount due. But the two other columns will also say that in the distribution as well, the share of Maharashtra has, as per the formula, no discretion, been fairly higher compared to the other states. I humbly submit an appeal through you that for a body like GST Council, in which every finance minister from every state sits in and takes a call, it's a collective decision of the GST Council. And I appeal through you that we don't need to politicize this. No individual has the right to tweak the formulation, and therefore there's no differentiation made on the basis of this party or that party.
Several matters of public importance were raised during the zero hour in Rajya Sabha on Tuesday, while Congress member Shakti Singh Gohil underscored the need to make proper infrastructural arrangements in the slums of Delhi in the wake of fire in Gokulpuri. A demand was raised to find a solution to frequent attacks by Sri Lankan Navy on the fishermen of Tamil Nadu. BJP MP Sushil Modi demanded probe into the cases of bank fraud amounting to 50,000 crore rupees, while BJP MP Ajay Singh underscored the need for prohibition or regulation of the use of Corex. Listening.
कि दिल्ली के कुछ एरिया ऐसे हैं कि जहां पे अगर उन झुग्गी में आग लगी तो फायर ब्रिगेड भी वहां तक नहीं पहुंच पाएगी, तो उनके इंतजाम रखें कि आग लगे ही नहीं, और अगर कुछ ऐसा होता है तो इसके लिए इंतजाम हो और गरीब लोगों के लिए व्यवस्था हो।
बैंक फ्रॉड के 100 से ज़्यादा केसेस पेंडिंग है फॉर द कंसेंट विद द डिफरेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स अमाउंटिंग टू ₹50,000 करोड़, और ये चीटिंग, फॉर्जरी, मिस अप्रोप्रिएशन और बैंक फ्रॉड के जो केसेस हैं, और राज्य सरकारें इसके इन्वेस्टिगेशन की अनुमति नहीं प्रदान कर रही हैं।
कोरेक्स खांसी की दवा है, लेकिन इसका उपयोग खांसी से ज़्यादा नशे के लिए किया जा रहा है। इसी तरह आयोडेक्स है, आयोडेक्स को भी ब्रेड में लगाकर हमारी युवा पीढ़ी इसका सेवन कर रही है और इसके माध्यम से उनके शरीर पर भी विपरीत असर पड़ रहा है। इसलिए मैं आपके माध्यम से सदन का और सरकार का ध्यान इस ओर आकृष्ट करना चाहता हूं कि इन दोनों ही उत्पादों पर सरकार या तो प्रतिबंध लगाए।
And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time.